Hello and welcome to the Carbitrage Podcast, episode 152. I cannot believe we've been doing that many episodes already.
I know, right? That's insane.
Yeah.
It's
Anyway,
like we do this a lot or something.
we used to do it even more.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the episodes aren't accruing as quickly as they once did, but I think they're better this way. So.
Yeah, they are.
Anyway,
we don't have to scavenge all of the news.
Oh, I know. Yeah, we just beating it dry, pulverizing. There's a bloody pulp of like a news film.
There's
that just
only
drops
so
from this
much
table.
It was like a
automotive
Quentin
news.
Tarantino
Yeah.
movie.
That's well put, actually.
Yeah.
Let me put it to this.
Yeah,
So
wow.
here's our honorary Jimny and our honorary Honda.
These are the winners
City.
of Car of the Year, if I'm not mistaken.
It
They're
doesn't
winners of
even matter
something.
what they are.
They
These
won.
are good. We don't get either of these, and we should get both of these.
Yes,
so,
we should.
So this is our protest to be like, bring it here.
Yes, we should.
Yeah, essentially just this is basically Tiananmen Square, but Carbitrage style.
Yeah.
So
Did you see the guy that made Lego Tiananmen Square?
no, what?
So you know the Lego architects thing. So this
Yeah,
guy
sure.
at a Chinese airport found a Lego Tiananmen Square, and he goes, "That's inaccurate." So he builds it while waiting for his airplane in China. He goes
Just rebuilds this thing.
well, because they have the small Lego architecture things you can get Barnes and Noble.
Yeah.
And so then he goes and he buys some a Lego tank and a
no.
little Lego guy, and then he finds a little Lego bag that looks like a grocery bag, and he put it together. He made Lego Tiananmen Square.
That's pretty epic. The only thing I saw this week that related to Lego was there's a long story, but Titanic.
Yeah.
An autistic child in Britain built a massive scale replica of the Titanic in
That's
Lego.
awesome.
That's really rad.
It's really
I love
cool.
that.
That's
Yeah, he
awesome.
posed in front of it, and he was very awkward looking.
A local band just covered Celine Dion's "My Heart Will Go On," and I heard that on the radio, and I texted Ryan immediately, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
We have Titanic on Laserdisc, right?
Yes,
We've watched that.
we have.
Okay, we should probably sneak
As
that in
we-
again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
'Cause
pretty good movie.
That's like one of the best movies ever.
Other than the fact that Rose should have moved over on that door, it's a pretty good movie.
Exactly. And
That's
I have a
just
student
Tank
named
Man.
Rose, and I always quote the Titanic to her, but she's like 3, so she doesn't understand.
She will understand when it gets presented to her eyeballs via
Yes.
Laserdisc. Oh, that's awesome. Show that to one of the cameras. That's
It's terrible, but you get the point.
Yeah, there's a Lego man in front of those tanks. It's pretty
Yes.
good. Anyway, beer. I'm drinking a Hams, which
Me
our
too.
sound engineer brought. This is my favorite cheap beer.
It's my second favorite. Old Style is my favorite cheap beer, but this is a really, really good, readily available cheap
This
beer.
is so non-offensive.
If you are drinking a Budweiser, you should stop and drink a Hams.
And if you're planning to smash an entire case of beer in a day, Hams is the choice.
Yes, they're very good for
Still
smashing.
on Caribou Coffee, and the sound engineer got me a Caribou Coffee card for my birthday. That's a couple months late, but that's fine. I still appreciate it.
That's better than never.
That is
Yes.
better than ever. I want to make a big, huge announcement, actually.
Okay.
Big, huge announcement.
Before we do Patreon, we are going to be at the Minneapolis Auto Show. Yay! We found out that they were doing a thing where they're giving away time slots to podcast live.
Okay.
I should actually say that Randy Stern was a person that tagged me.
We've had Randy Stern on the podcast at least once prior. I
several
believe
times, like 2 or 3 times,
maybe
yeah.
3 times. So thank you, Randy.
Yeah, Randy, he was really, really helpful at the beginning here with Carbitrage, just kind of helping us, get out there. But yeah, so we're gonna be at the Minneapolis Auto Show. That's gonna be really exciting.
Why don't you tell the kind ladies and gentlemen that listen to our podcast when we will be at the
We're actually the first Saturday of the show, first day of the show, the 7th.
the 7th. So
Yep. So
March 7th.
March 7th. We don't have a firm time. We will update the Facebook group so you can come see us.
And we'll
live.
tell you on the podcast too.
Yeah. But no, it's gonna be really, really cool. I'm really excited. I'm gonna use this as a platform for us to not complain about cars, but really kind of give our whole manifesto, the Carbitrage manifesto of.
I'm going to walk around the entire auto show before we do the podcast,
Yeah. Me
and
too.
I will do nothing but complain the first episode about things I don't like, and then maybe the second episode I will say what I do like.
Maybe we should do it the other way around so we don't get our microphones turned off.
No.
Because what I really want to do is with the podcast.
You can do whatever you
Here,
want.
you'll switch it. You'll do the positives, he does the negatives,
So-
and then he does the positives, you
no,
do the
this
negatives,
is
and I
the
remain a
thing.
neutral
I think
party.
that's a good idea.
This is the
Janet
thing,
can be
though.
Switzerland.
Yes. As I often
With
am.
us being at the auto show, we are going to be
Gotta
we are literally going to be on a megaphone in front of a bunch of people that work for these car companies.
So I will tell them that they should put fewer automatics into cars.
Well,
Manual
no, I
wheels,
think we
manual
should talk
wheels.
about the importance of the manual transmission, why people like them,
And
the
why it's
importance of the
better.
small car. The
Oh yeah, the
the
Mitsubishi
small
Mirage
car.
being our car of the year.
yes, 2 years running.
2 years running.
And then we should also talk about how inferior CUVs are to literally everything in all forms.
Idea. I should have my students in arts and crafts time make awards for us to present to these cars.
That'd actually be kind of cool. But
I'm not opposed to that.
yeah, that would actually be really cute. But yeah, so it's
turn that
gonna be
award
really
down.
cool.
No.
Please come see us at the auto show if you're in Minneapolis.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll
It's the
let you
first
know as
time-
much ahead of time as we can.
It's the first time we're gonna get like legit media passes that we don't have to travel to another state for.
That's true. Well, local media pass. Well, it's just not all that much that happens here.
Yeah.
So
But I'm just saying, like,
Our
you know,
auto
we-
show's pretty big for a regional one, but
Yeah.
still.
yeah, but still, it's like we go, like we pay to go every time. We've never like been like
Right.
media, so
Right.
it's like really interesting that like we've been media at like Monterey Car Week. We've been media in like the Chicago Auto Show.
I will say that the most expensive auto show I've gone to for the last 5 years has been the Minneapolis Auto Show because it's the only one I have to pay to get into.
Yeah.
Because every other one I'm getting a media pass for.
Last year they had free electric car parking up front. I hope they still have it this
I
year.
don't know how
Yes.
much car shows cost anymore because I've not had to pay to get into one in
I
a
don't
while.
know what anything
Like,
costs.
well,
'Cause I'm
you're-
too lazy to check.
You're rich, so I'm not.
I have enough money.
I shouldn't say you're not rich. You make a reasonable amount of money
I
for
also
somebody
live
that has a family.
in a basically free house
Yeah.
and don't have a spouse, so that helps.
Yeah, that does help. But anyway, so
cost
we
a
will
lot of
let you know about further updates on the Carbitrage Facebook
Yeah,
group
we
and
will-
the
we'll-
Patreon group.
We'll bombard you everywhere. Patreon,
Yes.
Facebook, podcast. Just stay tuned. Keep your ears open. We'll let you know when
We
it's going to
should
be.
put
We're-
like on our shirts that we wear to the show. We should do like small car manuals are better or something.
Yeah, we'll find a way. The superior form factor and some Mitsubishi
We'll
Mirage.
get some like silver Sharpies or something.
That'd actually be really cool. A picture of a Mitsubishi Mirage that says superior form factor.
It's better than
Give us
actual
what we
size.
want.
Yeah, superior form factor. That actually, I might have to make those shirts before the auto show so we can try and sell our merch. But anyway,
Save
so-
the manual shirt. I do have a. Scott got me one for Christmas. The Manual Gearbox Preservation Society.
I've got a bunch of stickers too.
Nice. Okay.
They're just very poor quality.
Okay. All right. Fine.
Anyway, let's talk about Patreon because Scott is a
Yes.
Patreon.
He is.
Patron.
We have several patrons now, actually, and I don't even know if I announced it, but actually, I don't think I did. So let me take this opportunity. Our newest Patreon patron is my coworker, who you guys met at a van show,
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
Ryan Barton. So
I was
Ryan,
really
thank you.
confused because most people come up to me and they go, Jana Cara, and I'm like, who are you? Never talk to me again. And he's like, oh, you're
that's Randy
Jana.
Stern.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
You're the Ryan.
I was like, you know
He
me
actually did
as
say
just
that, yeah.
Jana. That's great. Because, like,
Jana.
if anybody knows me, I hate
Well,
my
when
last
I
name.
introduce you, it's like
And it's-
my co-host Ryan Sinisky and Jana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, no one can ever pronounce my last name right. Nobody pronounces Carol
Why
right.
even try?
Like, so, like,
It'll
just
change
say,
it soon enough.
just say Jana. Like, yeah, I'm going to change my last name anyway. But, like, I'm like, it
Just shorten the whole thing.
Just,
like,
just
I'm like,
call me
"Meh."
Jana. Like, and when I sign things,
My
I
name is
never
Banana.
have banana, bunny.
banana family?
Well, don't do that. I'll have to memorize a new name. I only know you
Ryan,
as Jana.
Ryan,
Yeah.
and Jana. Banana.
you were a Jew, you
Ri-
were Jana.
Ryan, Banana.
Never changing my
and-
I know,
ways.
and like whenever I sign anything, I just
Jana
sign
banana.
it as a Jana because nobody knows another Jana, like unless.
Except for me.
I know a Jenna.
Yeah.
First, so when I first met Jana, the entire first day that I was texting her, I was texting and flirting with her, but it was apparently another Jana that was in my phone that I had gotten the number of years prior that I'd completely forgotten about. I was just arbitrarily flirting with her.
Yeah. So my
The wrong Jana?
The wrong Jana.
Oh,
I'm
no.
the only person with two Janas in my phone.
yeah. So like
And
people,
not deleting phone numbers, I still have.
I never delete phone numbers.
I
people
still have two
either know
Janas.
me as like Jana or like nothing else. Like please do not mention my last name to me.
I have one Jana in my phone book, and I have 1,200
Jana Karen.
numbers in my contact list.
You can see here, there's Jana, Jana's dad, Janik Malin, and then Jana with two N's.
I do see that. But there you go. I don't know how
But yeah.
long ago I added your contact, Jana, but you were the only one in my phone.
yeah.
There you go.
Anyway.
If you know any other ones, they're imposters and they need to change.
They need
the
to be
spelling of their
terminated.
name. Yeah.
Unless there's Jana from Star Wars, where she has an H on the end of her name.
2 N's and an H.
Yes, she's
Very
very cool.
Israeli. It's great.
It's true.
Anyway,
Ryan, why don't you tell us about cars
all right, sure.
that age poorly?
So yeah, usually cars do age poorly. Note the third gen Trans Bird.
Oh, God.
Between
yeah.
the very late models, like the '93, where they had the awful front end that looked like a bird's beak.
I'm just gonna pull up a picture of a really crappy third-gen Camaro.
Well, I mean, no, honestly, look up like 1985 Trans Am, because the Trans Am got hit with the ugly stick the hardest. 85 Trans Am, that's not terrible.
It's fine, other than the fact I had Toilet Bowl 305.
All right, now can you look up a 93 Firebird?
God damn it. You know, I need to get a mechanical keyboard here. Like,
Yeah.
I will
Images.
apologize
Click,
ahead
click,
of
click,
time
click,
for the noise, but I am.
Oh, sorry, look up the 92. I totally.
You want the boxy one?
I need the boxy one.
Let's do like 1990 then.
No, because they the last 2 years. I think it was a 92.
Oh, jeez.
191.
191.
No, right there. That's it. That's the awful front end.
1990 to 19. Yeah, okay.
Well, look how terrible.
With no ventilation.
Yeah, that front end looks significantly worse.
So for our audio listeners, just imagine Kit, but the car that it was based on.
Well, actually, so you have the one where the front end flows, right? Where it's all boxy, and then you have the one where they just like stuck on like
They're all terrible.
a 4th generation Firebird front bumper onto an otherwise boxy car.
Pronounced a frumper?
Yeah, it looks terrible. Another example of that is the Testarossa, the 90s continuation, the 512.
The 512 TR.
Yeah, TR. That one, I hate that front end.
I much prefer the 512 TR to the Testarossa.
I don't like it because it doesn't flow. That's my big thing. It doesn't flow at all.
That's totally
And
fine. That's why you hate the facelift 124.
Yes, and that's also why I really hate the. I really hate the Four Eyes or the Fox body.
Okay. So stream.
Yeah.
If you're watching video, that's a Testarossa. That's a 512 TR. So
Gross.
they're grafting like a 348 on the front of a Testarossa.
Yeah, that's basically what they do. And so it doesn't flow at all. However, my question is, what cars actually became better looking with their successive facelifts? Oh, the 2000 Lotus Esprit is another perfect example where it
way better. The last Esprit was by
really
far the
where
best
the
looking
Bomex
Esprit.
body kit on the 70s car. I think that looked terrible.
No, the Esprit S4S.
But what cars looked objectively worse or looked objectively better by the time they ended?
How could you hate the S4S?
Because I know that the 78 exists.
I'm not even going to bring that up. Don't care.
That one actually flows. I care
So
more about
the question
flow.
you're asking is, what car looks better in its facelift?
Yeah. So here are my answers, just to kind of give you an idea of. And these all kind of an era, but I mean, it doesn't have to be from this era.
Before you answer, can I ask one question?
Yes.
Are you asking a percentage better, or are you asking can we go from really ugly to pretty good, or from pretty good looking to extremely beautiful?
Sure, either one. Which car has a really good change?
The most significant change in how good it looks.
I think a perfect example, the car I'm going to start with is the C4 Corvette between 84
I agree with you.
and 91. I don't like the 96 because that as much, but I can totally understand how that looks better in 84.
Yeah, the facelift on the C4 was monumental.
There's a huge change. The 1980 versus the 1990 Volkswagen Vanagon.
Oh, yeah.
Vastly superior looking.
Oh, God, yeah.
I know a lot of purists will give me flack about this. The 75 versus the 85 Countach.
Okay.
The
it
first
does
year
look
Countach,
much better, but
versus the late model one.
arguably it's less iconic.
No, it is less iconic, but it looks better.
It does look way better because
Yeah.
the 25th anniversary Countach is pretty much the best thing in the entire world.
It is. You're
to
right.
look at, yeah.
It's,
That's where you and I agree.
yeah,
But you could just take a razor blade and carve it into my eyeball, and it would still look that good.
yeah, that. Those those three cars I think are perfect examples of cars that every year that they existed, they got actually better.
Want to hear
looking.
something funny? Corey just went to get us food or whatever.
Yeah.
The door locked.
Oh no.
For the Tesla.
No, the door here.
Oh,
the
that's
deadbolt.
hilarious.
Anyway, so yeah, you do yours. I've got a couple I'm thinking about. I'm still thinking though.
So, for me, I mean, the Tesla and the Corvette and the Vanagon. I will say this one I feel like is debatable. I think the E30 looked better. The later it got.
Oh yeah, it did.
Yeah, I think that the big taillight E30 is my favorite looking.
Yeah, the plastic
BMW.
bumper E30 is just better.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people argue an early Euro bumper car is better looking, and it isn't. It's a good car.
It's arguable.
They
but
have their own merits. I mean, I have a couple BMW examples, but the E30 wasn't even on my radar for that.
and then I'll also say the A86.
Okay.
Hugely improved
Yeah.
front end.
Yeah.
Because that front end, like a Japanese AE86 of any year versus a late model American AE86, that wears its safety bumpers so much better than it did any other time.
That's probably a good era to focus on too, like a
Yeah.
car that was birthed into that era.
Where they had to learn as they went, and like the Fiero is a huge example of getting better.
Yeah.
Like the first year of the Fiero, nobody wants that, and the last year is like actually almost a desirable car. Like if they had gone one more year with the Fiero, they could have made it, or one more generation with the Fiero, they could have actually made it something worthwhile.
Yeah, that's the thing. They made it
Scott
so
is-
good the last 2 years.
Scott is just like
Worst update, the
loading.
modern 86. Yeah, that's terrible. The facelift on the
I will say actually, there's one aspect, the BRZ wheel got better.
Okay, I'll give you that. But like the bumpers and the face and like
Thank
the fact that they took out the side molding thing that used
Yeah,
to
that
have
was
the
really
pistons
weird.
on it, just made
Yeah.
it blank. Like no.
Yeah, that looks weird.
3000 GT, Z32, R129.
3000 GT looked better every
MR2
year.
Spider, 996. Yeah, those are all really good. For me, I'm going to go the most prominent change, and that is the E65 BMW 7 Series. When it launched in 2002, the thing was pretty ugly. And honestly, when they facelifted it in 2006, it was a very handsome car.
Oh, the 7 Series. That's the one with
The
awkward
Bangle.
taillight.
Yeah, but they
That
facelifted
one-
that car, and it got good looking.
That car at the beginning might have been one of the worst looking German vehicles of all time.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Like that one, I forgot who the designer is, but
Chris Bangle.
Chris Bangle, yeah.
Third gen 4Runner is also on my list. It's not that the 96 was bad looking, but the 02 was significantly better looking. The E39 BMW 5 Series is way up there too. The 97 was just such a plebeian, peasantry, boring vanilla car. And by the time those things finished, the facelift is 01.
Was that the that was the Bond car?
He never had a Bond car. E39. No, it was it's the M5. I mean, it's the Star.
Oh yeah,
BMW
Bond
Films
had a
car.
7 Series. Yeah.
Right. So I mean, the facelift on that, it was all the little changes. That was the first car ever to get those the angel eyes, the halo lights. That was the first car ever to wear those things. So I mean, it had a lot of really significant changes. But yeah, I mean, I think Scott's got some really good lists here too. I thought about the Z32 because like the 89 non-painted front, and then you get like the 96, 97 Fairlady. Like it's
That's
a much
true.
better looking car, but it's the same thing with the Esprit,
Where
it's like
debatable.
a factory Bomex kit.
It's debatably better.
Right, and like I'm going for the ones that are like universally. The MR2 Spider is really good. The facelift is a much better looking car. 996.
I think
way
the 996.
better.
And if you scroll up, he actually had some more.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he had on top of that. But yeah, I think the 996. I think that one would win overall.
Oh,
Oh, never mind.
it's an EP.
But yeah, no, the 996. That went from being possibly the least desirable vehicle I've ever seen in my life to being almost okay. Like,
I think the Point 2 is a good looking car, and I think the Point 1 is tolerable. But I mean, a lot of people that gripe on those cars are griping about the interior, and really the interior is not any worse than any other 2000 model year vehicle. So
the interior's fine. I'm not too concerned.
yeah, well, yeah, you've got the Vanagon, the C4, the Countach. Those are all really good. I'm trying to stay away from just targeting BMW in this, but they're huge offenders of like pulling back the best that they can do on the early car just so they have more for the life cycle change.
Can you look up the 88 and the 91 Honda Civic? They're both EFs.
I need a better keyboard.
1988 Honda Civic. And let's do, yeah. So that's the 1991 Honda Civic. So this one right here with the unpainted bumpers. All right, go with the sedan up top right here.
I like those.
So, well, it's not the unpainted bumpers because that was a trim level thing. But if you look at the corner lights, they're screwed in on the outside. The bumper's very flat and plain. And then when you look up a 91, right there, that's that red
That's the
hatchback.
sedan.
That sedan is 91 as well, yes. So you can see that nice curve.
Trash. Good.
Yeah, I mean you can
Trash.
see the difference in the
Painted door handles. Ooh.
That's again trim level. But but no, I mean if you look at the actual curvature of the bumper,
Just
they
always
really
gray.
wear the support bar a lot better. They also blend into the grill, and then as opposed to having that like split grill, it's a very good looking car. I think that 91 Civic.
I want to show the few people that are actually watching the stream version.
BRB.
Okay, this is an early Bengal 745, and this is a 750i Sport. Like, that's actually a pretty handsome car, and a lot of the changes were done with Wheels, body color, trim, and the trunk lid. They changed the rear taillights quite a bit.
That trunk lid is one of the most offensive trunk lids
Right.
I've ever seen.
But
in
if
my
you
life.
put the facelift trunk lid on it, that's
Way
actually
better.
a pretty
It's
handsome car.
Yeah, that's like suddenly an okay car. Like if you like 2000 styling, that's a very good 2000s car with the late model trunk lid.
And I don't know how time will treat the E65. Oh, and wow, I didn't know they made a short wheelbase V12 760. That would be pretty good too. Although, yeah, I guess if you're gonna enter yourself in that level of pain, you may as well go with the V12 because that V8 is not reliable in either one of those forms.
No, that's a very bad.
It's a
engine.
very bad engine. Actually, don't buy one of those. But I'm coming back to this. Do buy a Jimny? Do buy a Honda City EV?
Jimmy.
Are there any trucks that we can think of that looked better with age?
The facelift on the OBS Ford was pretty significant.
Which one?
The 1987 F-150 looked way worse than the 1993 F-150.
Two different. Those are actually two totally different body styles.
I'm going to call them both OBS.
They're different, but yeah, but yes, that's a huge change. The O.J. Simpson and the 80s brick.
No, I mean, all trucks look terrible. Okay, so the 02 to 03 Silverado change, I think, was pretty significant.
That was way better, yeah.
Yeah,
that was
they
a
went to
huge
the more
change.
angular headlights
Yeah.
and the bulbous
That helped
taillights.
so much.
And the steering wheel was the biggest thing in the facelift.
Mm-hmm.
They went from that old, like, swollen marshmallow 95 Blazer steering wheel to like an 08.
Like a good-looking modern
Yeah,
steering wheel from the
much
21st
better.
century.
So,
Yeah.
Anyway, that's probably enough on that, I guess. Remember how we talked about the Apache last episode?
Yes.
The Jaguar? Those are actually pretty well screwed together. I don't know if they're made under contract by somebody else, but they seem like they fare a little bit better because when we think of Jaguar on the whole, you think of a car that doesn't hold together.
You think of a Ford with extra zero on the end of its price tag, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like, even before Ford bought them, like, there were cars
They're
that
British,
were
yeah.
they're British. So I mean, you think of Lucas Electronics, you think of the Top Gear episode where
The
they
Prince
deal
of
with
Darkness.
British Leyland cars where everything just falls off. Apparently, that is still the case with modern Jaguars because if you crash a Jaguar XE into something at a high rate of speed, the engine detaches itself from all the other portions of the car and throws itself into somebody's living room in Louisiana. Can you believe that?
Did you see the picture with the AC compressor outside the front door? It was like that compressor just walked in on its engine with another woman.
So you see here on the right side of the screen, that is a 2-liter turbocharged inline-4 with a torque converter out of a Jaguar XE. And on the left, there is a several hundred feet away Jaguar XE with a missing engine.
Oh,
I'm
I
not
think-
sure if that's related, but
That's a
So
quick engine swap.
since the
There's the AC compressor down
engine
here.
like intruded on this person's home and ended up in their living room,
I think
do
we
they
should-
get to keep it?
I
They
would
have,
assume
they have
so.
90 days to find the owner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
However-
they reported
How
as
much
missing.
How much poo from the person in that apartment?
So much.
I thought it was a home.
Well, same thing. So this is another reason why you shouldn't live in Louisiana, because you might have a Jaguar engine fly into your
Oh, it
house.
was an apartment. Sorry, you're right, Corey. So the person living in the apartment was hospitalized with non-life-threatening injuries,
no.
and the driver, 27-year-old Davin Alexander, was taken to the hospital in critical condition.
Just
Wow.
trying to imagine you're sitting at home.
What state was Davin in?
This was all in Louisiana.
Oh, okay. I just thought so. The way you said
Down
that,
in the bayou.
the way you said that, I thought you meant like you would just be driving along, say in like Minnesota.
This could happen in Minnesota, just driving
and
down the
your
road.
engine just comes out of your car and this ports into some person's living room.
There
in
were some
Louisiana.
old Pennzoil commercials back in the 90s where the engine extracted itself running from a car and went into an auto parts store. That's essentially what happens here, but then it realizes it needs a fuel line, and it only made it to somebody's living room.
Do they all end up in Louisiana?
I assume so.
Okay, so regardless of where you are in the world, just
My sample
don't-
size is only one incident, but I'm guessing 100% of the time they end up in an apartment living room in
This
Louisiana.
person's
You
home
really should.
specifically.
You really don't
Yeah.
want to live in Louisiana because
No.
not only are you below sea level in a red state, which means it won't help you.
It will also destroy
But-
your tile.
You're also might have an engine fly at your face.
I don't know how strong that floor is, but I think it will only accept maybe 10 engines. So if people keep crashing XEs, we're going to have a problem.
This is terrifying. I don't want to live in Louisiana at all.
Carbitrage pro tip, buy an Apache because the motor is very small and light.
I'm terrified to live in Louisiana.
How do
I'm
you
so
explain that to your landlord?
yeah. How do you explain that to your landlord?
Do they have coverage for that?
Would that violate your security?
I don't
deposit?
know, but
I'm
like,
not getting my deposit
Because that's
back.
external damage.
yeah,
like, that's not your
but
fault.
I mean, like engine oil, like that's not covered in any rental agreement I've ever seen. And like, how would you even get this out the door? Like, you can't lift
Who do you
that.
talk to for insurance about this sort of thing?
Ghostbusters. That's who you're gonna call.
So you just have to go call the Ghostbusters.
That is correct.
That's the only answer.
Yep.
So instead of buying a Jaguar, you could actually buy yourself something better.
Oh wow, I don't know what I just did here. That's
Yeah,
bad.
you did something odd.
The keyboard. I'm gonna blame it on the keyboard.
Yeah. So the best vehicle currently for auction on Brand Trailer is currently on.
Oh,
and
wow.
that is the 1988 ItalDesign Aztec.
I like the
Oh.
4-bolt turbofan wheels.
Oh,
When I
yes.
saw Aztec in the podcast notes, I was expecting,
Pontiac. No,
yeah,
this is so when I was
pleasant surprise.
when I was a kid,
Same.
I had this book of concept cars, and I'd look through it and find my favorite cars. And in that book, along with the concept that eventually became the AW11 MR2, the ItalDesign Aztec was up there. And this is
Hopefully the Vector W8.
no, because that was a production car, it wasn't a concept car. However, the ItalDesign Aztec is Giorgetto Giugiaro design, so you know how I feel about him. And
Well, he made beautiful tires.
he also made a beautiful automobile. It's got a double bubble roof. It's got an Audi 2.2 liter engine, which is questionable. And overall, this is the best form factor.
But at least that was a 5-cylinder. Like those of Audi engines, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, overall, as far as going for an Audi Quattro Coupe, this is the best one you can get. If you actually scroll down, they've got a picture of it with the doors open and the headlights up, and the doors open in the best possible way. There. The door opens and the roof opens.
Okay, that's a non-committal designer right there.
Yeah, and then those headlights are amazing. But yeah, no, I like how the front of it looks like your normal space stage car, and then the side of it literally looks like a rocket ship.
Oh God.
That does look straight out of a Star Wars.
It does. It's great.
Oh, it's a turbo 2.2.
oh,
Yeah, and it tells you all
250 horsepower, Audi power. What's the key code? Is that like a Ford keyless thing?
It must
What's
be.
the gauge? A manometer?
Manometer. I'm a man. Yes.
I don't know what that says, but I think it says
It says
manometer.
manometer. Meter.
Meter?
Yes.
Wiener?
Manometer.
So
This is wonderful.
You use the codes to access the service areas of the vehicle.
I love this so much. This is just the greatest vehicle. I never knew it said manometer on the side. It gets even better.
What the hell is going on with that steering wheel?
I don't know, but
Is it a manual?
Sure. Yeah. No, it is. Yes, that is a manual. It's
It's a very narrow gate, but it does look like it's probably a stick.
That's very cool, and I love the steering wheel because it's like oblong. It's just so cool. Yeah, 250 horsepower.
Okay, that's actually a pretty
Audi
solid
engine.
engine. That's not even a mechanical injection one.
Yeah, it is tuned
I think
by
that's an
Mayer
EFI.
MTM. Yeah. It's a very
It's pretty good.
It's a very cool car. Never went to production, obviously, which
Probably
is
sounds pretty neat.
terribly depressing that it never went to production.
The purpose of a manometer is to measure the pressure of a contained gas. It consists of a U-shaped glass tube with one end open to the atmosphere, mercury in the bottom of the U, and the gas is measured. Okay, so it's like a barometer, measuring inches of mercury,
Apparently
America
overly
style.
complicated.
A manometer. I like it. I prefer thinking that it just measures how manly you are.
It's the same thing, right?
Because apparently it's a car.
Just
for
you
for
watch. That
men.
one is not connected to any glass tube.
Cloud City car.
No matter what car you're
Does
in,
it have
reads
two
zero.
steering wheels? I don't think so. It does have quad exhaust though, which is pretty cool.
So each exhaust gets 1 1/4 cylinder of exhaust pressure.
I think that's the gauge binnacle you're seeing.
It's such a great car, and I love how they've like all the controls, and just like down on the center console. It's such a ridiculous car. It's really just perfect.
I mean, it screams 80s, but it's really got the 90s flow to it.
Well, that's the thing. Like late 80s concept cars, like this is how the 90s should have been. Like the 90s should.
It's not too far off of how the early 90s was.
No, it's definitely like Demolition Man 90s, where everything is just a 1980s like Detroit auto show concept car, just being driven on the road.
Yeah, okay.
Also,
I mean,
have we watched Demolition Man on Liz Just Movie Night?
I don't think
I think we have to.
Demolition Man. Demolition Person.
I think we need to rewatch it at least.
I would need to see the cover art for that movie to see for sure.
It's got Wesley Snipes and Sylvester Stallone.
I don't know.
But like every car in that movie is like a late '80s concept car from General Motors, and like all the cars in that movie are amazing. This is the best show.
Does it have Johnny Cab in it?
No, it doesn't have Johnny Cab.
I'm
But
not
that was
interested then.
No, Johnny Cab was Sid Meier though, or Sid Mead, but not an actual concept car. But like Demolition Man, they were all actual concepts.
Okay, fine.
So it's totally worth watching. Highly recommend it. It is not a good
According
movie.
to Corey, we watched it already. So
But we need to watch it again. Like we really have
if
to.
I have it, then that's fine. Also, I'm officially giving up on trying to eat a taco and do the podcast at the same time. I'm going to finish that afterwards.
Also, if you want to see another very cool car in Brain Trailer right now, there's a 1979 Mahindra CJ Jeep.
Anyway, so I'm good. Let's talk about Jaguar another time.
What?
Why are we
No,
talking about
actually, we're not
British
doing that.
vehicles this
Oh,
much?
good. Everybody
Wait,
knows
where am
about
I?
Your Tesla Model 3.
Yeah,
heated
okay,
seat.
let's talk about Tesla being Jaguar being Tesla.
Okay, thank you.
Software unlocking more crap.
Okay.
You guys know the Model 3, right?
Yeah.
The car that looks really awkward and has no face?
No, I like the Model 3 because it looks like a P20 Toyota Publica. But yes.
It does. It has a very tall greenhouse and a very non-distant face.
Yeah, I like that. It's
So
cute.
anyway, apparently, a lot of people now with pretty much, I think, every trim level of Tesla Model 3 are getting in their app like cost upgrades that they can do with their car.
DLC.
DLC, because it's software.
What?
Yeah, so there's no DLC for a Model 3. And do you want to know what it is?
One second. Is it horse armor?
No. It's not anything that cool.
What is it then?
Rear heated seats, which means that every Model 3 produced, apparently, has rear heated seats, and they've been software disabled.
What?
Wait a minute.
Just like the
One
non-premium
second.
sound Model S.
So, let's say the enterprising Model 3 owner could easily just lift up their heated seat, see a series of wires, go,
Yes.
I see, and then find the power wire, and then just hook that up to a switch that goes directly to a battery, and then
But
the
then you
negative
wouldn't
wire.
be able to
just-
control it with your app.
But you can go to AutoZone and buy a toggle switch for like $2 and just make it
And rest
happen.
assured, Ryan, this will happen many times for many Model 3 owners, especially going into the future. You do not have to download. No, it's going to be the Epic launcher, and then you're going to need a Ubisoft account to register the heated seats. And then Steam is actually going to deliver you the heated seat patch. And then you're going to need to link that with your Tesla account.
And by the time you're done with this, you have to buy another hard drive because you've now used a terabit of
Really,
memory.
you're going to want to just go to GOG and download the open source heated seat for a little bit more money, and then just load that on there.
I think you just want to download a new car.
But anyway, yeah, you wouldn't download a car. Anyway, it's $300. If you have a Model 3, go into your app,
God.
get your rear heated seats.
So, all right, I get like DLC for computers with cars. Like, there's literally a wire that you can just attach.
Or you can just go into the
detach.
coding yourself on your rooted car and give yourself full self-driving and rear heated seats and all this other crap and unlock all the range. Stuff that they're doing remotely for money, you could do for yourself for free, technically.
Download more RAM.
You could definitely
I'm sure there's probably
go to
there's
Google.
probably some Russian guy that works like in an alleyway that'll
Weird.
with
Maybe it's like
laptop.
Pavel,
Yeah, some weird Russian guy that has
Strange.
a laptop. Yeah,
like the guy I bought my car from.
yeah.
Strange. It's
Strange.
odd that my software won't update automatically anymore.
But I mean, now you got rear heated seats.
Well, I don't. I wish my car had that, but I've pulled the rear seat out of it.
Did-
It is not heated.
I've got a question. On
Sure.
the third row of seats for a Model S, is there a heated seat option for that?
There is not.
That's rubbish.
I know.
Why? I want third row heated seats.
Well, see, I'm not the one who actually engineered the Model S because they all would have had third row rear-facing
Heated
seats.
seats.
Heated.
Rear-facing
And air
seats.
conditioning, too.
And vibrating.
Massage.
Vibrating, heated.
Pulsing,
air,
we'll say.
Air conditioning, heated seats.
Air caching?
Air conditioning, yes. But anyway, that is very irritating and very dumb.
I think it's cool that they're giving people the option to buy that crap, but the
Yeah.
fact that your car already has it just means that you should just find a way to unlock it yourself.
Yeah. So speaking of heated seats, I want to note that just how pretty the button for the heated seats is on the Z8.
Demolition Man and Taco Bell product placement.
Oh, there we go. That's true. But no, I want to talk about the Z8's heated seat button because we were out there looking at that a little bit ago,
Okay.
and I I noticed that I'm going to be putting heated seats in my Cressida when I have it all finished up here.
Sure.
Because I want to make it road trip worthy and comfortable, and heated seats are a thing for that.
They are comfortable.
And yeah, they make things better. So but they never offered one for my Toyota. I was looking for a button that really fit well in the interior, and I think the physical button off a Z8 might be the best looking heated seat button I've seen. It's like curved and still angular. I think it's perfect. I give that button a 10 out of 10.
So get one out of an E46 or an E53, because as far as I know, it's the same button.
Perfect. There you go. So E46, E53, BMW heated seat button.
Yep. There you go.
I could probably get
A
one from
2000 BMW heated seat button, in other words.
So I could basically just call up our BMW and get it for like $5. So
Yeah, pretty much.
that's worth it to me, I think.
And you're going to want to stay on like the early side of 2000, because eventually, I think in mid-year, they went to a button that looks like that, but it's got 3 lights on the side, not the button lights actually in it. And unfortunately, those buttons are like PWM. They don't actually have current management within the 95 7 Series one, which is a button with a little wheel on it. Those can take the full current, though.
Okay, so if I can't get one from that, I take
95
a 7
7
Series.
Series, yep.
There we go.
So
Well, there we go. Top tip. If you're putting heated seats in a car, because I'm sick of seeing cars that come through with heated seats, and they've like this like a weird round arcade style button.
I just accidentally moved a topic, but I put it back.
So Jana, you wanted to actually talk about something.
I did. Sorry.
She's eating a cheese roll up.
I'm eating a cheesy roll.
Would you like
No.
me to spend 5 minutes talking about nonsense while you eat
No,
that?
I got
Okay.
it. It's fine. I'll just talk with my cheesy roll up in my hand. It's fine. Do this all the time. So.
Podcasters have to eat too.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Exactly.
And we eat Taco Bell because we don't have
Sam
much
Kitty.
money. As we talk about BMW Z8 that's in our garage.
Anywho,
Do.
you know, with all the impeachment inquiry and stuff, I turned off the radio for quite some time because it was giving me the anxiety sweats every time I got in my car, and I was just,
Usually I just get meat sweats.
yeah, it was really
That's
bad.
the version I'm more familiar with.
It's
Yeah.
the meat sweats.
And like, I can't wear antiperspirant, so I'm just wearing coconut oil, you know. So it was not great by the time I'm just glad that I work with children because I get to blame the stank on them. So I was like, okay, for my health, I need to stop listening to NPR all the time. And then, you know, because he was
your health.
acquitted, I get to listen to NPR again. And I heard a story about in New York City, they raised the fares for the subway a little while ago. Thanks. And people are pissed, rightfully so, because they not only raised the fare, but they also
Starting enforcing. Right?
yeah, they started enforcing it even more strictly. So people are getting arrested for skipping subway fare.
That's
Which, like,
That's a city where
everybody does that. Like literally
everyone
everybody does
relies
that.
on public transport there.
yeah. And, you know, it's negatively affecting the, you know, unfortunately, the lower income communities because they're unbiasedly, you know, because they
arresting
can't.
people. Yeah.
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 So purposefully, so these people have criminal records because they don't do this anywhere else. And, but yeah, so people are pissed. There's lots of photos online of them protesting by like smearing poop on the wall and stuff like that.
That is how I protest.
like,
I go immediately for fecal smearing.
like,
That's what I do when someone cuts me off.
Step one to protesting, you throw shit.
Yep.
yeah. So like,
That's the one downside of Kurt, no sunroof.
yeah, the subways are getting hella
However,
nasty.
it does have a sump
People are
pump.
getting arrested for no reason, and so they're like, all right, there's something we have to do. And so they've tried introducing
Damn it, there's too much poop on these walls. We need to do something.
so
Introducing
they
what?
tried introducing half-price fares to like lower income families.
At that point where they just find urine on the walls. Well, actually, that's normal for New York.
And
so.
people are like protesting because they're like, okay, having the strict enforcement is costing more money.
Yeah.
And reducing the fare to lower income families isn't helping because they have to put more people on the train. And so it's like, it's still super expensive for them. And
Pro tip, if you're lower income, please don't live in New York, New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's your pro tip right there. Hot take: move to St. Louis.
But yeah, so like this opened up a discussion
Move to
on
Kansas City.
We'll get to that in a
discussion
minute.
on, you know, what other like cities in the United States are doing, and in Kansas City, they just recently made all public transportation free.
They did. In fact,
did,
that was
and
that was
Scott has
just
an
posted
article,
in
yeah.
our chat during this episode. So I'm putting up the,
So
the
yeah,
article
so
here.
the bus system is fare free. I mean, they don't have subways in Kansas City, I
Oh,
don't think.
what up, Vox Media?
But
Down Polygon.
but yeah,
Anyway.
so like it's free in Kansas City, and the way they can do that is because they don't rely so heavily on the income that the public transportation makes.
Right.
Whereas like New York City and like DC, they rely like almost exclusively for public transportation to fund their cities.
Well, I mean,
but
this infrastructure is still really expensive to
Yeah.
maintain. But I mean, in New York, yeah, you have so many extremely wealthy people that don't necessarily ride the
Yeah.
public transit as much. But I mean, let's be honest, this is worth subsidizing a little bit.
yeah,
Yeah,
Because you take the Modis of the world that don't have a job and are deadbeats,
yeah.
and you get them to work because
Yeah.
they can get to work and
You
back.
make the city overall better because
You do.
Well, all right, so this is the thing: is like government subsidies and actually doing stuff to help your population. That got New York City to where it is today.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because if you look at New York City in like 1980, like 1980 or like 1977, like that
It's
era,
all on fire.
the whole city's on fire because they aren't subsidizing anything, and nobody has a job and nobody can get to work because everybody drives a Oldsmobile Delta 88. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's your problem in New York City.
Well,
Well,
that's one of
then.
them. Yeah.
But no, I mean like that's your problem in New York City at that point in time. It's like nobody can afford to do anything. There's no jobs and there's a huge brain drain. But today, with the city becoming gentrified, like the subway helps a lot.
It does.
In a country where we don't have K cars or city cars like France has, like you need something like that, like
Well, and
public, like
New York
public
has
transit.
winter. It has lake
Yeah.
effect snow. So like, if you're low income, like you can walk to a certain extent,
to a degree.
but like, not really. I mean, not year round and not efficiently. I mean, if you're walking 2 hours one way to work or something like that, up 30 blocks, it's not worth it.
No.
You're not going to do it.
Ow.
But
me.
then again, I come back to like, if this is I'm. You really shouldn't live in New York City proper if you're that strapped for cash. But the cost of living in that city is so huge.
It's insane.
Well, it's even one of those things where somebody that's well off like you would have trouble living there.
Oh yeah, I mean, I would need a New York City job there to afford to
Yeah.
live in New York City.
Yeah.
Because like the jobs pay way more there too for something like I do, because they have to. It's
Yeah.
like the coastal areas, like California. It's the same way. I mean, the cost of living out in like L.A. or San Diego is much higher than it is here. The jobs also generally for the same type of work pay more.
Yeah.
So. Like even a barista at a Starbucks in New York is going to make a lot more than one here in
Yeah.
Minneapolis, Minnesota, Buffalo, Minneapolis.
But that's the thing is like even with that, like with that cost of living and everything, you still need people to do those service jobs. Otherwise, you're gonna end up-
Absolutely.
like
They're
you
important.
can't like not have that.
But like,
Yeah.
okay, so say you stop charging for your public transit system like KC, you're acknowledging that the people that were paying and subsidizing your system directly no longer will, because there's no
Yeah.
incentive for them to pay.
Yeah.
It's like a pay what you want system, kinda, but I don't think so. I think they're literally making it free. However, it does seem like, I mean, you're gonna have to pay for less law enforcement. You
Yeah.
have to pay for, I hate to say this, but like you're paying less for like prisons and things like
Seriously.
that for like people that just default because they have no choice. And you're letting people have some pride and some like purpose in their life by getting to and from things.
Yeah.
But I mean,
think
Kansas City is much more spread out than New York.
I think there's a happy medium here where you can have it be a parking ticket where it is a fine that you have to pay, but it's not a criminalized fine.
Yeah.
Like you can't go to jail for a parking ticket.
Yeah, like
You-
a petty misdemeanor.
Yeah, like you can go to like yeah, if you get too many parking tickets, yeah, it makes like something else inconvenient, but like it's not going to ruin your life over it.
Right.
And I think that will at least incentivize people where, well, now you're going to get hounded by the police every time you get there. You're not going to go to jail but you're going to get hassled because you owe, like,
Right.
for your fine or whatever. Like, that's going to be a thing that's part of your life.
Right, and that's the
maybe
point.
you,
Like,
like, have a-
I don't want to prove that I'm that poor. Just like accept the fact that like I don't want it to be this way either. But now I can, leverage this system. So
No, that's the thing is, well, I mean, yeah, like not everybody is poor, but that's the thing is a poor person problem is a rich person problem. Because if things get to an extreme, the poor people start getting guillotines.
right.
So I'm like,
Jesus.
like,
I
we're-
heard that the police just had to dismantle one of those not too long ago.
So-
Virginia gun rally. Someone brought a guillotine.
Oh, God.
Somebody brought a guillotine to
A
like gun rally?
full-size guillotine and
Like
assembled it.
900 pounds.
Oh no.
See, this is what happens when you rile up the poor.
Yep.
You really
We
have to
make
watch out for them.
guillotines.
Yeah, they have guillotines.
Just
So-
don't tell them to eat cake.
So I don't think it's realistic for New York to stop charging for transit,
No,
but I do feel like they should really figure out how little they could charge and still maintain their infrastructure,
Yeah.
even without subsidy, and just do
Well,
that.
to be fair, their infrastructure sucks.
It
Like,
does
as
because
is.
they're limited by like 200-year-old crap. Like,
Yeah.
look at the sewer
And
systems
there's
under New York.
there's a reason that they're charging this much. They can't just like not charge for it. But I mean, like,
Right.
and that's what I was saying. Like a non-criminal fine.
Yeah, I do think like if right now if you could be jailed for skipping transit tolls, just make that not the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like just
Everything
sure
else
make it
just-
a fine, but like, even if you default on those fines, like have it be on your criminal record. That's okay. I mean that's
Yeah, that'd be very
not
important.
great, but like you need to like even if you're getting slaps on the wrist, like at least you can still go to work and
Have it
Yeah.
come out of
make
your
a little
tax
money.
return.
Sure, yeah, have them garnish levy
Wages,
whatever. I don't even know. I'm not in that position, so I feel stupid even recommending
Something along those lines.
outcomes or
Yeah.
like plans of action to make this work. But I mean, props to Kansas City for, according to this article, like 1.2% of people in Kansas City use KC public transit,
Okay.
You know,
which
and
is not immense.
And we should also talk about, bring us back to the automotive realm. In France and Japan, in addition to their public transportation systems, they do have smaller cars than we have available to us. And they are just as safe as the ones we have. So everybody's
Yeah.
saying that small cars are not safe.
No,
That's
look at the old
patently
smart crash
false.
test.
Yeah.
That's patently false. Well, even the Mirage versus the 2020 Ford Explorer. Like the Mirage, they literally have the same crash test rating. But we don't have that option. I feel like a lot of this kind of middle ground could be saved by having smaller cars in
Yeah.
America, because there are people that they might have a extremely long trip or one of those weird length trips where you don't want to use public transport for it and you don't want to own a full-size car, but having something like a French city car where they can go like 45, 50 miles an hour, it's like for in the city.
I think ride
Something like that
sharing
is
maybe with
Ride
something like
sharing,
that, but like
yeah.
in New York, it's not realistic for any income bracket
Yes,
to own
that
any
is
vehicle.
true. That is very true.
And like they're also saying, whereas like in some cities, like making transportation free doesn't make any sense. They want more transportation, like available to them.
Yeah, I mean
like, more
things
frequent.
like even like the bird scooters,
Yeah.
they're pretty inexpensive, and if you want to traverse a much greater distance in a short period of time, it's a good option.
Yeah.
So
That's-
more variety, ride sharing, those scooters, even the bicycles, things like that. I
Yeah.
think they're a really good option. Yeah, it's clutter, but I mean if you don't
You
don't
else-
live in an area where you have the luxury of a car,
Yeah.
what do you do?
Do you know what else is clutter? Having a city that's got the population of a small African nation.
Yeah,
Like,
the
that's-
density.
You have a density problem. Unless you build up for your roads, where you have roads on top of roads, like
Yeah.
you're not going to be able to do anything about your density problem.
So I mean,
So-
in New York, it would be better if they just like, I mean, you already pay so much in like real estate taxes and
Yeah.
rental taxes. And like, how much could it add to fully subsidize the subway?
Mm-hmm.
I- I'd be curious to see what that is, because they need to get paid, like you said, for their infrastructure. It's tremendous, the
Well,
upkeep.
you
and
you
something
also
like
have
that.
the ultra rich that live in
Right.
New York. So you've got the Donald Trumps that literally live in New York.
Right, which is why you would never be able to subsidize this with tax dollars, because they would just lobby their way out of it.
Yeah.
I also believe that those people should be taxed 20-30% of their yearly
Yeah,
income, like just like insane amount.
I
because-
agree. I don't think we need to bring politics into it too much, but the
Well,
current
I mean,
taxing scale is just
But
ridiculous.
I'm not trying to be political or anything, but I mean, like, as far as making this work, like, you can tax everybody a little bit, or the people that have just vast quantities of unused money.
That don't use the public
That
transit.
have like multi-floor apartments. Like,
Yeah.
maybe tax them a little bit more because like obviously they can sustain, more than.
But there's so many
somebody
different
else
ways
can.
you could grab it out. I mean,
Yeah,
even
there's-
without introducing something like a VAT,
That's
like
true.
you could sales tax, gas tax, anything.
Well, I think actually
Or like
a gas tax is a
congestion
huge thing.
tax, like
Congestion charge.
Yep,
you
that's
could do it.
that's a good point. However, that's the thing with congestion charges, is I think have that be based off the company and not the individual, because in England they have congestion tax,
Yeah.
and the issue with that is that your congestion tax is being lobbied towards people. It's basically punishing them for having a job.
yeah.
I think if you
Punishing them for not taking public transit,
well, let's say like in
unless they buy an insanely expensive Porsche hybrid.
yeah, like in England, like that's what I'm talking about.
Right.
Like
Me too.
you're essentially getting taxed for having a job, and like
Not really. You're
Well,
getting
and
taxed for
having a car.
driving within 5 minutes of the city center of London.
so I think that if they actually taxed the company a congestion tax, that would stagger the times in which people go to work, and that would also help alleviate the congestion.
Yeah, but companies are too dumb to figure out that scheduling matters a lot.
Well, that's why you just tax them for.
Yeah, but then they'll just pay it in gripe, and then
Yeah.
they'll pay pundits and lobbyists to
That's a
get
very
out
good
of
point.
it.
That's a
So
very good point.
it
Well,
really, the
maybe the
key
gu-
is education.
I think the
Yes.
key might be the guillotine here.
Okay, that's fine actually. If we're not going to put money into education, let's just dig out the guillotine.
I think that education and the guillotine are what we should do here. That's to fix it.
Yeah, I
Never
think
mind the
that's fair.
fines. I think that's our top tip for Carbitrage is bring out the guillotine.
Oh shit! I just
Oh God, what'd you do to Jana?
this was poorly. Okay, we're good. That was just in the
So,
last second.
What's up? What did we learn the last 2 weeks? Because we didn't do one last
Oh,
time.
that would have been such a good bombshell to leave on.
We can just leave on that. Just edit this out then. Bring out the guillotine.
Bring out the guillotine.
Bring out the gear.
Thank you for listening.
Catch
Bye.
you next week.